Hello everyone, and welcome to the best runs of 2025. This video is going to be showcasing the very best records set last year, featuring 10 rocket jumping world records and 5 sticky jumping world records. Similar to H2 in his list for 2023 records, I'll only be doing one run per player. That being said, I will be showing some honorable mentions near the end of the video, and so, I hope you enjoy. Starting out at number 10, we have Utonen on Jump Spend. This is a run I believe went pretty under the radar last year, and so if you haven't watched it, make sure to check it out. I'll have this run and all others linked in the description down below, and while shorter records I will show in full, runs like this I'm unable to show as it is 3 minutes long and, well, we have limited time for the video. Anyway, previous record on this map was a 3:39 from Riot, and then Utonen, a relatively unknown player, after a lot of grinding was able to get a 3 minute and 13 second time on this map. Now, to say this run is cool is an understatement. It features so many sick strategies that I've never seen on any other map, and it's partially due to the fact that this map is kind of weird, but it allows for a really incredible, super entertaining run. In fact, it's very possible this run belongs even higher on this list, but due to the lack of competition outside of the top 2, it's kind of hard to say if this record will withstand the test of time or not. Coming in at number 9, we have Boshi on Jump Sidhood. Now, I don't believe this is one of Boshi's best runs ever. However, it's Boshi, so basically anything he does is going to be really, really fast, and it's the exact same case here on Sidhood. This run is really fun to watch. It has sync speed shots, it has jerf, what else do you really need? Coming in with a final time of 2 minutes and 6 seconds, this run is 3.5 seconds faster than second place, and it's just a really cool showcase of a sick route on a sick map that's been around for over a decade. Next up at number 8, we have Garth on Jump Yona. Garth is a jumper who's only made his way into the top 10 very recently, however it's safe to say that he's here to stay, setting numerous runs on classic jerf maps, with Yona being no exception. While there are other runs I could have picked instead, I believe Yona is his most impressive that he set last year, with over 20 seconds saved on second place. He accomplishes this time save with near perfect movement in conjunction with lots of really sick strats, and with this run and many others, Garth has effectively cemented himself as the best jerf player around right now, and I think it's safe to say we'll be seeing a lot more of him in the future, as he seems to only be getting better and better as time goes on. At number 7, we have Riot on Jump Hopstep, and coming in at 42 seconds, this run features 13 speed shots and an edge shot, with near perfect movement, and over an 8-second time save on second place, which, for a map of this length, is basically unheard of. And well, you can watch it for yourself. While it might not be as flashy as some other jerf records we'll see on this list, this is a record that will be standing for a long time. at number 6, we have Vice on jump Phobos. To offer a bit of context for this record, we're going to go back to 2023, when this map was featured as a rocket jump of the week, with a time of 1 minute and 19 seconds set by Bunny. While this run looked very fast, it wasn't perfect, and later it would be improved to a 1 minute and 16 second time by Relorch near the start of 2024. However, Bunny would come back to get a 1 minute and 14 second time, 5 seconds faster than her rocket jump of the week. You would think this is where the story for the map ended. However, near the very end of 2025, a tournament would be held for this map. Hosted by Jump Fortress, all the best players in the world would be competing, and as a direct result, this map would be pushed to its limit. With just hours left, Vice would get a 1 minute and 7 second time on the map, 2 seconds faster than Garth, with a basically perfect run. Okay, now up next we have our first demo record of the list. Like I mentioned, we'll only be doing 5 demo records for this video, and so going forward I'll be alternating. 1 demo record, 1 soldier record, so on and so forth. To start off on demo, we have Ad on Jump Across. This was one of only a few demo rocket jump of the weeks last year, and while it's not technically as fast as a lot of other demo records, it's still very clean, featuring no obvious mistakes. Coming in at 51 seconds, this is just a very clean run, and with a faster air pogo on last, likely could have made it higher on this list. Still though, this run is very impressive, and it's exciting to see some new faces in sticky jumping, which has traditionally been dominated by just a few players. Going back to Soldier, at number 5 we have Cookie on Jump Serenity. This is one of the most popular rocket jumping maps ever released, originally released as a part of Beginnings 5, where Boshi would win with a record time of 41.1 seconds. This time would get lowered a lot over the years, with times getting more and more competitive, more and more looking like a TAS. With a map this short, every 100th of a second counts. And it looked like Boshi had solved the map back at the start of 2025 with a 38.59 record. And truthfully, you'd have to be crazy to see that record and think it looked beatable. However, that's just what Cookie did, incrementally working on this map, grinding it over the course of months, trying to save time in any possible way, trying to get the perfect run, trying to get the sub 38 second time. And that's exactly what they would do. And now, headed back to demo once again. I hope you're seeing the pattern by now. At number 4, we have Kanda on Jump Length. Kanda is a player who's been around for a really long time. And while they've always been good at the demo class, most of their records are set on off-class maps. And well, Kanda has a reputation for being a triple pre-main for a reason. Don't let that fool you though, as Kanda is a beast. And well, yeah, this record shows why Kanda has been consistently in the top 10 for years and years at this point, and that they are one of a select few capable of beating records set by Soup, the undeniable greatest sticky jumper of all time. This run comes in with a final time of 1 minute and 42 seconds, and is just under a second faster than the previous record set by Soup. I think while visually this record does look worse than Add-on Jump Across, technically speaking, it's much more impressive, as this map is just really hard. And well, there's a reason why Soup's time on this map stood for 6 years. Once again back on Soldier, at number 4 we have Rubitus on Jump Hanami. Now, Hanami is very different to all the other maps so far featured in this video, as it is extremely hard. Like, back when it was released in 2016, it was considered the hardest map in the game, and even now, beating the map just once is considered a monumental achievement for any rocket jumper. However, like any other map, people are going to fight for the world record. Over the years, what has been considered good for this map has changed a lot, with the record originally sitting at over 10 minutes in length, with only one player, Dilla, being able to improve his own record. Dilla would lower his time again and again over the years on this map, eventually getting a time of 6 minutes and 33 seconds, which was in fact featured in H2's video covering the best records of 2023. However, in the time since that record, there would be one player to push this map further than anyone else, Rubitus. Not being satisfied with just getting record, Rubitus would push this map lower and lower and lower, eventually achieving a feat that myself and many others considered impossible just a few years ago, a no-fail, coming in at a time of 4 minutes and 30 seconds. For anyone that hasn't played the map, it's hard to explain just how crazy this is. For context, on average, it takes people 2 hours to beat this map. Like, the slowest time on this map is 13 hours long. It's absolutely crazy to even consider a no-fail. And yet, that's what Rubitus was able to do. This run is the culmination of hundreds of hours of grinding by Rubitus over the span of months. The only reason this run isn't higher on this list is because, unfortunately, there's a lot of time save still possible. And in fact, I believe we'll eventually see a sub 4 minute time on this map, but like, not for another few years at least. With that, we've officially made it into the top 3 for both Soldier and Demo Man. Starting out on Demo once again, we have Soup on Jump Bob. Now, this run is weird. On one hand, it's Soup. He's the best demo jumper to ever touch the game. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. On the other hand, this map was made in 2008. Like, it's probably older than a lot of the people watching this video. And so, why is this record placed so high? Well, basically, because it's Soup that got the record. Throughout 2025, Soup was much more active playing on Momentum mode. And well, I would have included some of his records there, but unfortunately Momentum mod has a really bad demo replay system right now, and so that's why this list is only featuring runs set on Tempest. And yeah, this record is really fast. Coming in at 43.1 seconds, it's over a second faster than second place, and for a map that came out in 2008, it's a pretty good looking record. Rounding out the top 3 for Soldier, we have Nikita on Jump Nebuchadnezzar. For anyone active in the rocket jumping community, there's no denying Nikita was the jumper of 2025. Currently sitting at rank 1, he's the most dominant player since Boshi, and can basically get record on any map in a matter of hours. And well, that's what makes this record weird. To explain the history of this map, Nebuchadnezzar is another map from Beginnings 5, where, once again, Boshi won, setting a record at the time with 2 minutes and 25 seconds. And well, this record was really good. And in fact, going into 2025, it had remained unbeaten. That was until a player named Spitter showed up. Spitter would break this map apart, coming up with new strats for nearly every level, turning this map into one of the most creative speedruns on Tempest. Like, it's not every day that a no-fail record that stood for 7 years is beaten by nearly 30 seconds. And Spitter's 156 was originally going to be second place on this list. However, that's when Nikita happened. Just like Boshi in his prime, Nikita has the ability to make any map world record look bad. And that's exactly what happened here. Basically, 8 months after Spitter's record, Nikita would take a look at the map, play it for a fraction of the time, and then beat it by a second. By no means is this the record that Nikita spent the most time on in 2025. However, I believe the run is still extremely impressive and showcases something that only Nikita could have done. Moving on, we're getting to the number 2 position, and for demo, we have Nugels on Jump Drought. Nugels is the current rank 2 sticky jumper, and this record took him over 2 weeks to grind out back in 2025. And in fact, this is really close to being the best sticky jump record of last year, as this is a super difficult map, full of strats that only a couple of players could ever pull off with any degree of consistency. Unfortunately, however, Nugels was unable to beat level 11 optimally, separating this run from what I ultimately decided to put at first place. Either way, this run is very impressive technically, and shouldn't be overlooked. Jumping into the second best run last year, we have Bunny on Jump Desolation. Now, the thing about this run is that it's just fast. Like, really fast. The newest map on this list, Jump Desolate, was released in just 2022. However, right from the onset, times in this map were extremely competitive, with the first notable record being a 234 from Izzy Hop, shortly after the map's release. This run had a small fail, but was otherwise incredibly clean, and it seemed quite close to the limit for this map. So, just how fast is Bunny's record? The answer is 2 minutes and 13 seconds. 20 seconds faster than Izzy's Hop original record, and 7 seconds faster than second place. For those who don't know, Bunny was the rank 1 rocket jumper for a long time before the rise of Nikisha, and to me this run is an example of rocket jumping at the highest level. Truthfully, I could have chosen many other Bunny records from last year for this list, however, this one's definitely my favorite. In no small part because of this section here, where already a minute deep into the speedrun, Bunny gets a sync speed shot, just flying through this connector and the jump afterwards. And like I said, minus 7 seconds on second place, which for a map this short and this competitive is almost unheard of. And with that, it's nearly time to reveal the best records of 2025. However, first, I wanted to go through some honorable mentions. Starting out with demo, I have to spoil something for you. Best run of the year was done by Vice. In fact, it could nearly be argued that the 5 best demo records in 2025 were all set by Vice. But like, just showing 5 Vice records is kind of boring, so that's why I stuck to the 1 run per player rule. With that out of the way though, first honorable mention is Vice on Jump Asdif. This is a really clean run on a classic map, just like our next honorable mention, Vice on Jump Rush. Like, I've just got to admit, Vice is the best demo player right now. In the second iteration of the Tempest Cup last year, Vice won 3 out of 3 maps on demo. And well, that leads us into our next honorable mention, Vice on Jump Terminal. In my opinion, this was his best record from the Tempest Cup, and truthfully it almost took the top spot on this list. Don't get it twisted though, Vice isn't the only demo jumper who's good at the game. And that leads me into my final honorable mention, Nugels on Jump Around. This run was another one of only a few Rocket Jump of the Weeks for demo last year, and well, it's really clean. In fact, I heavily debated putting this in place of Nugels on Drought for the second place spot on this list. At the end of the day though, while the run itself is very clean, the strats on it just aren't as interesting as Jump Drought in my opinion. And so, what was the best demo record of 2025? In my opinion, that spot is taken by Vice on Jump Zero, a map coming up on 10 years old that prior to 2025 had a 1 minute and 2 second record set by Soup in 2023. Just like Jump Phobos, Vice was enticed to play Zero because of a Jump Fortress tournament. And to secure first place, Vice would get a run of 1 minute and 2/10 of a second, beating Soup by nearly 2 seconds. Vice manages to save time on Soup by being as efficient as possible with every single sticky, perfectly strafing through difficult levels with ease and making it look easy. And so, while Vice had many clean records last year, I believe this is by far the cleanest, and the most deserving of the best demo run of 2025. With that, demo is done. And so, it's time for the Soldier Honorable Mentions. First up is Song on Jump Yggdrasil. Coming in with a time of 1 minute and 25 seconds, this run saves nearly 4 seconds on the previous world record. Truthfully, up until last, this run was easily top 10 material. However, to be more consistent and not fail, Song resets, losing 2 seconds. Whatever though, it's still a really fast run on an iconic tier 6 map, and so deserves its place here in honorable mentions. Next up, we have Nikita on Jump Night. Like I said, Nikita was by far the most dominant Soldier player from last year, and of all his records, this is probably the cleanest that he got. As for his best record, however, that spot probably goes to his time on Jump Lion. This is a super impressive run on a super iconic map, and well, I wanted to put this in the top 10. However, this fail near the start is just really unfortunate. It looks ugly, I mean, I don't know. Either way, this map is still really hard and definitely deserves an honorable mention. Next honorable mention is Bunny on Jump Boogie Woogie. Truthfully, Bunny got a lot of great records last year, and many of them could have been here as an honorable mention. I just chose this one because I like the map. Similar to Desolate, it's just a really clean run, no obvious mistakes, doesn't have the wow moment of the sync speed shot, however, and that's why I chose Desolate over this run. If you want a wow moment, however, you can look at the next honorable mention, Zagrafage on Jump Polar. This run is way better than it should be. Coming in at 1 minute and 39 seconds, it's over 10 seconds faster than second place, which is super impressive for a map this short. And notably, features a texture edge bug, the first of its kind in a map world record, as far as I'm aware. Finally, for honorable mentions, we have Star on Jump Negative. This run comes in at 2 minutes and 52 seconds, and is 14 seconds faster than second place. Honestly, this map is just really cool to me, and I think without this unfortunate time loss near the start of the map, it would have for sure made it into the top 10. With that out of the way, it is time to reveal what is the best run of the year. Now, at the start of this video, I claimed I would only be featuring one run per runner. However, I had to make an exception, and that was because of this run, Rubitus on Jump Sinister. Equally as iconic as his no-fail on Jump Hanami, the difference with this run is that it doesn't just no-fail, it's also fast. For those of you who don't know, this map was released back in 2015, and is actually comparable to Jump Hanami in terms of difficulty because of one level, second last. This level initially feels impossible, and requires a super insane setup to get a water quad, putting the player at max velocity, allowing them to go up. In fact, for a long time, records on this map basically required getting to second last and then praying you would get it first try, which was first done by Kato with a time of 2 minutes and 45 seconds back in 2021. However, that run was blown out of the water when Rubitus would get a no-fail on this map, a historic time of 2 minutes and 13 seconds. The thing is though, that run was back in 2023, and so what changed? Despite no one really challenging his record, Rubitus would decide to come back to this map last year, implementing new strats on nearly every level, and trying to optimize it as much as possible. Honestly, this record is mind-blowing. Not only is this a no-fail on a tier 7 map, it's also just fast. As opposed to his original no-fail back in 2023, with this run, Rubitus chooses to only do the fastest possible strats, getting a final time of 1 minute and 44 seconds. He accomplishes this with new strats found by a jumper by the name of Sutre. Stuff like this insane setup for third last. However, the most incredible part of this run is second last, where after already hitting numerous absurd strategies, goes for one of the most insane setups ever concocted, abandoning the tried and true setup to go straight into the quad from a double. To do this requires perfect speed and timing and is one of the hardest strategies ever used in a map build record. And yet, Rubitus does this a minute and a half into the run of his life, nails it, and then immediately nails last too. Like, if you disagree with the rest of this list at all, whatever, I don't care. But undeniably, this was the run of 2025, and I don't believe it'll be beaten for a very, very long time, if at all. Either way, thanks for watching, and see you again next year.